Morning, Facebook. How are we? Happy New Year to everybody. So it's my first day back in the office, and this year is going to be all about accountability and growth and progress and all the other things that I'm really excited about. So I thought I'd kick off as I mean to go on, which is just do a bit of a Q&A. So I have had, what, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks or something like that out of the office. I'm actually working from home today. This is our studio in our house. It's my husband's studio, actually. And I wanted to just do a video this morning because although I've actually got another 2 weeks officially booked out of the business, I'm bored out of my mind because not being at work, really, I hadn't realised, but not being at work, not doing stuff, not being excited and working with you guys and so on is actually killing me. So I've had loads and loads and loads and loads of questions come through over the Christmas period about lots of different things, rent to rent and all this sort of stuff. And what's interesting is a lot of them have come from brand new people who I've not connected with before, who have become friends on Facebook and so on. So I thought I would just do a quick Q&A. It's 8 o'clock, first day back for many of you. So if you are online this morning, I'm expecting that those of you that are in jobs are probably on your way to work or are getting ready for work, whatever it might be. Have a great day if you are. Those of you that work for yourselves, like me, you're probably heading back into the craziness. So if you're online, give me a like or a heart, or just to let me know you're here, or stick a question in the comments box and I will answer them for you. But I've actually got a list on here of all the different questions that I've been asked over the last few weeks while I've been out of the business that I haven't answered because I've not really been online very much. One of my lessons that I learned in 2017 was that social media sucks your time away if you let it. And so this year I'm going to have more focused time online and not just be constantly available online all the time, because it actually sent me a little bit crazy. I think I was just obsessed with it all the time. So the questions that we've got, apologies by the way if you can hear my cat meowing at the door. He wants to be in here, but normally he jumps in front of the camera, so I'm not letting him in and he's meowing, so apologies if you can hear that. So the first question that I had was what made me get into property in the first place. So for me, for those of you that don't know me or haven't met me before or heard me speak or anything like that, I got into the property world in November 2015. So I started our business, actually December is when I officially incorporated the company. But I met Justin in November 2015. And the reason I got into property in the first place was because I was struggling financially, really, is the cold, hard truth of it, I think, is the best way to explain it. I had no other real solid business ideas that I thought would really make a difference enough for me to get out of my own way and sort of fix the financial situation that I was in. So we'd got married in September 2015 and we went away on our honeymoon. We were trying to plan the next bits of what we were going to do, you know, where we're going to have a family, where we're going to go traveling, what we're doing, and everything kind of came back to not having huge amounts of money because we had credit card debt and all of this sort of stuff. So I got into property because I needed a way to get out of those sorts of things. And I'd been on, I think we've all been on, and I don't know, comment in the box if you can relate to any of this, but I've been on kind of the 2 days, 3 day type free event type things, which are very valuable if they're filled with content. Obviously we know that there is a sales pitch at the end of them because nothing's generally free, but I went along and I'd heard about these few different strategies. I'd heard about developments, I heard about rent to rent, I heard about sourcing, I heard about lots of different things. And for me, I'd always thought that property, to get into property, you needed a lot of money. Like you needed a deposit to buy a house, which then gave you a little bit of rent each month. And then you bought another one, and then you bought another one, and bought another one. And I think for most people, that's the traditional way that you look at getting into property. So the fact that I didn't have a lot of money, I didn't have a deposit to buy a house. You know, we'd like to buy another house for us to live in, and we can't create that sort of deposit, that big lump sum. And I know there's friends of mine and family members of mine who, in the same way, you know, you're trying to get to a point where you can afford to buy a house, but you're still paying rent on a house here, and actually it's quite a difficult bridge to find. So we were no different to you, we were no different to anybody else. And so I needed to find a way, I needed to find a strategy that actually meant I could get into property without needing that big chunk of money. And also I needed a way to pay the bills, and I also needed a way to pay back my debt. That was really important to me. So I discovered a thing called rent to rent. Now, though there's many of you I know on my Facebook who will be on this video. I can see Theo's on here, Glenn, Andy, Yakis, hey guys, how are you? Who know what rent to rent is. Some of you are doing rent to rent already. Some of you have trained with me. There's some people on here, Rupert, Dave, morning, who maybe don't know what this rent to rent thing is that I go on about all the time. And I guess I just wanted to do, one of the other questions I had was, what is it? How does it work? And actually, I got an email yesterday saying, I think this is illegal. Do you know what you're doing is illegal? And I thought actually part of this video I would just sort of address that, because I think it's quite an important detail. I was the same. When someone said to me, oh, you can rent a house and you can rent it back out and you can make a profit in the middle, I thought, don't be so ridiculous. That's got to be illegal. Why would anybody let you do that? And that I was a cynic. I was surrounded by cynics to a certain extent. I'm often still surrounded by cynics. There's a lot of that in my world. But I didn't know what I didn't know. And actually, once I took the time, took the action to go and research it and dig a bit deeper into what was it, how does it work, etc., I discovered that actually there are ways of doing rent to rent that, yeah, it does make it illegal, i.e. doing it without permission, doing it without the right insurances, doing it with the wrong contracts, doing it, all these sorts of things. But actually rent to rent is quite an old strategy. It's existed in the commercial market for a long time. So if I just talk to you a little bit about that. So if you imagine where you've got a company that rents a big building from a company that owns that block, let's say it's a block of offices, that company will then rent those offices out one by one individually. That is basically what rent to rent is. It's the same. So rent to rent actually is not a new strategy. It's not something that has just been created in the last few years. Actually, it's been around for a long time. So the research I was doing, yes, lots of people saying to me, no, it's illegal, you can't do it, etc., etc. But actually, once you dig a bit deeper and you understand it more, it's an incredible strategy. It's a really good, fun way to build good, solid cash flow that comes in consistently. And because it's a cash flow strategy, whilst your business is growing and you're building value in your business because it's a trading business, you're also building solid cash flow at the same time, which you can then use to purchase assets or build an asset base or build wealth. So rent to rent is an amazing strategy. What I do is in the residential space. So what Justin and I do is in the residential space, and instead of taking an office block and renting out the individual offices, we'll take a property, like a residential property, a house or a flat or whatever we end up doing, and we then individually let out each of the spaces. Now, predominantly our portfolios works in the company let arena. So we will have a company that will come to us and say, we've got a team of people that are going to be working on our project in this area for X number of months. Quite commonly they are more than 3 years, because otherwise they could probably just go and rent a house themselves. Why would they need us? So what our specialist area is in being able to work with our letting agent partners, work with our landlord partners, to be able to secure property that gives them that satisfaction, gives them that consistency in accommodation for their team for the full duration of the project that they're on. So company will come to us. We will then go and do the work to find the property or source the property or however you want to call it. And we do that by working with letting agent partners. We've got some really great relationships with letting agents in Milton Keynes and other parts of the country. And we give them the spec that we want. So it needs to be 5 bedrooms or 6 bedrooms. It needs to have a utility room, or it needs to have 2 en suites, or it needs this, or it needs that. That's usually dictated by the client. Sometimes we can give advice on it, but often that's dictated by the client. They'll give us their budget and they'll say, we want this area and we've got this much to spend, and we will then go out and try and find it for them. So we've done that in the residential space. So we've taken a house and we will let out the individual rooms to the company that come to us in the first place. And we get paid a fee or a difference between, either we'll get paid a flat fee by the company for finding that property in the first place, or we'll get paid a percentage of like the difference between what the company will pay us and what we have to pay out. So we'll keep that profit margin in between. So that's basically what rent to rent is. For those of you that asked me that and have, you know, talked to me about our online course and the other bits and pieces, and talked to me on Facebook quite a lot, I really just wanted to run through and explain kind of how the basics of rent to rent work. So hopefully that's been helpful. Morning, guys. I can see lots of you jumping on at all different times. I'm assuming you're all kind of in and out. It's that sort of time of day. Right, what else have we got on here? What's been the biggest thing that you've done day to day that's made a difference in your business? So I'm very aware that I'm in the, you know, we're going into the 3rd year of our business. I'm really aware that we're a new business in the grand scheme of things. Okay, you know, I think they say something like over 80% of all small businesses fail in the first 3 years. We're no different. You know, we are absolutely in that learning growth stage, and we're still developing our way. We're still figuring it all out, whilst we're doing very well. And we're, you know, Justin and I are delighted by the results of last year. Quite surprised, actually. We didn't realise we until we went and sat with our accountants at the end of the year, quite how well we'd done. And that's again, that was something we learned of. We need to watch and manage that sort of stuff going forward on a more consistent basis, so that we are aware of it and we can manage the finances in the business in a better way. But it's a nice problem to have, something to learn. But what's been the biggest thing that I've done day to day that has made a difference between, I guess, me and anybody else that's starting out in the first 2 years? I guess for me, I would say I've got an absolute enthusiasm to learn stuff. So I really, really work hard to fit time into my day, into my week, into my month, to learn new stuff. So I've got an Audible account. I'd recommend everybody gets one. You get when you sign up and you pay your monthly fee, you get a credit every single month. So what a credit means on Audible is that an Audible is part of Amazon. So when you buy an audio book on Amazon, they give you an Audible book. So it's actually put into the Audible app, so you can listen to it in there. It's basically just like a digital book library. Brilliant. So you can buy your book in Amazon, listen to it in Audible, and I tend to listen to audio as often as I can. I have to say, the last probably 3 months of the year, I really didn't do this very well. It's something that I'm switching back on as of sort of now. In fact, I've been listening to my audiobook this morning before doing this video. I'm listening to a book called Oversubscribed at the moment, which Theo Bailey, who, if you're not connected with Theo Bailey, I definitely recommend connecting with him. The guy's very, very interesting, does a lot of stuff. He's in property in lots of different ways, and he's working on some really cool projects, so connect with him. And Theo gave me the hard book of this for my birthday in July, and I'm not great at finding time to sit and read because I'm busy and all of those sorts of things. And also I'm not actually very I don't absorb information very well in a kind of written format. I'm much better if I listen to it. So I meant to read it from July all the way through to kind of November time, end of November, early December, and I just never got around to kind of really getting into it. So I thought, right, I've got to read this book. So I actually bought it on Audible and I've been listening to it over Christmas, and I'm almost finished it now. It's an awesome book. I definitely recommend it. It's all about building a business that is not scrapping around to build revenue, but is actually working with a targeted audience that really you can add value to, that you can really serve well and actually develop your business in that way. It's a really interesting book. So this year I've got a target of trying to listen to 100 audio books in a year. And I know there's loads of people online. I think Rob Moore did this one year, and there's a load of other people that have done this. And I think one of the things that Rob Moore did was listen to stuff on double speed so that you could fit more time in and so on. So I listen to things on kind of 1.5 speed. So I'm trying to get a little bit better at that. But I think one of to go back to the question, which was, what do you do that's different to other people? I think my enthusiasm to learn is definitely something out there that makes a difference. So every opportunity I get, I will learn. So if that's going and working with people for free, if that is putting myself in an environment where other people are that I know I want to either be like or learn from, I will go and put myself in that environment. I'll go out of my way to do that. If there are people that are, putting on free events or putting free content out there, I will watch it. I will take time to listen to it. I will read it. I will really make the effort to do that, and then I will implement it. So you can learn all you want, but if you don't ever do anything about it, you're never ever going to make any difference. And that doesn't matter if you're building your own business. It doesn't matter if you're trying to get healthy. It doesn't matter if you're doing anything at all. you can understand the theory, but if you don't do anything about it, nothing's going to happen. That's the long and short of it. And I think if I look back 2 years ago, I had heard about property probably 6 to 8 months before, maybe even a year or so before I actually made the actions and actually took action into building my business. If I look at what I made in my first year, made in my second year, if I'd have done it a year earlier, 2 years earlier, when I kind of knew about this stuff that was going on, but I just didn't do anything about it. You know, I was reading books, I was listening to webinars, I was doing all the things that you guys are probably doing right now, but I didn't do anything about it. Now, I've lost out on a lot of money. If I look at what my income, my profits are for the last 2 years, if I'd have done that for 2 years before, I'd be in a much different position now. I certainly wouldn't have been in as much debt. And so I think the other key thing is, yes, have an enthusiasm to learn, but have an enthusiasm to do as well. As much as you can learn, put that stuff that you learn into action. And you know, you don't have to be perfect at it. I think one of the things when I first started, I needed to understand every single detail before I would actually go forward and do anything. What I created was just delays and slowness, and I'm not sure what the proper word is for that, but I was just slow at kind of kicking stuff off, and all that did was cost me money. So yes, you need to set up right. Yes, you need to make sure that you're compliant. You know, if you're sourcing packaging, you need to follow the compliance rules. If you're setting up a letting agency, you need to follow the compliance rules. You know, there's some legal stuff you absolutely must do. What I'm not saying is don't do those things. But what I'm saying is actually go out and make the actions to understand whether you are doing it or not. Don't just kind of sit there and hope it's going to come to you, because it just won't. You need to be pushy. You need to get out there and actually put yourself in the environment that you need to be able to make the difference. So they're the two things to answer that question that I had, which was, what's the difference between you and what you do day to day and what maybe people that haven't quite achieved the different things that they wanted to achieve in the last couple of years? Those two things. One, an enthusiasm to just learn everything there is. And two, getting it done, actually going out and actually putting those things into action. If I didn't know something, I went and found the answers. If I needed to learn from somebody, I went and found them, spent time with them, paid them for their time, or, you know, met them at an event or watched them talk or whatever it might be, and learned what I needed to learn from them so I could make that difference to me and my business. So what other questions have we got? Morning, Cheryl. Morning, Sophie. How are you? Hope you're well. Happy New Year to you all. Okay, so how do you motivate yourself every day? Well, honestly, coffee helps. Coffee is a good thing for me. I'm a big fan of coffee. But all joking aside, how do I motivate myself every day? Do you know what? I'm going to be really honest with you. Some days I don't. Some days I just have a shit day like everybody else. You know, I don't know if you can relate to this at all, but I'm definitely not a 5 a.m. club. You know, I don't want to swear this early in the morning, but 5 a.m. club's never going to be something that I'm part of. It just isn't. I've tried it, can't make it work. I just can't get my head around being up that early. In the summer, it's not so bad, but this time of year when it's absolutely freezing, there's no way I'm going running at 5 o'clock in the morning. I just can't do it. The things that do motivate me are I actually like to feel proud of myself. That is something that really is one of my values. I like to feel proud of myself. I like to feel like I'm making a difference. So I've got a bit of a benchmark rule, and those of you that have trained with me or those of you that have met me or heard me speak will know that my nan is my benchmark. So there's everything I do in my business, every choice that I make, every service I offer, every client I work with. If I couldn't sit in front of my nan and confidently, proudly tell her about it, or I couldn't take my nan to one of my houses and show her around and feel proud of myself that I'm showing her, then I wouldn't do the deal. I wouldn't move forward on it. My nan and granddad and my mum have been incredible inspirations to me in my lifetime. They did some really cool stuff. Actually, my granddad was in property and also in other businesses. Very entrepreneurial. I think I probably got a lot of what I do now from him. But you know, there's a lot of things they rammed into my brain very early on. One is that you only get out of life what you put in, so you might as well put in everything, and you can get everything back that you want, which is amazing. I live by that. But also, you know, make good choices and treat people how you wish to be treated. And that really is something that goes through everything that I do. It's really important to me that I can feel proud of the things that I'm doing. And so even if that's, when we're looking at houses to take on, or we're looking at condition of houses and we're looking at a deal we could do, and actually there's loads of money that we could make, but actually I think, oh, do you know what? I just don't feel like that's the right move. It's not something I would feel proud of doing, then we just don't do it. Money's less important to me than those sorts of things. So the way that I motivate myself is feeling proud of myself. So every move I make myself feel happy. I can then go out and do that again and again and again. So I actually get a lot of satisfaction from doing things well. So by continuing to do things well and continuing to make the right choices, I tend to be able to motivate myself quite well as well, if that makes any sense at all. I think other ways that I motivate myself are when I'm having a bad day or things are not going to plan, which often happens. The only thing you can control in this whole world is you and what you turn up and do every day. You can't control how other people react to you. You can't control whether or not an agent will work with you. You can't control whether the deal stacks up. You can't control whether things fall to pieces. You can't control whether your customers want to work with you. You can't control what your brand's doing. You can't control any of that. All you can do is control what you turn up and actually do every day. Control who you are, how you're perceived, and not how you're perceived that side, but what you put out into the world. And once you understand that the only thing that you can control is you, actually that's quite motivating, because it means that you just concentrate on you, being the best version of you that you can be, getting up every day, turning up and doing something that you feel good about. That then motivates you more, definitely. Well, for me it does anyway. I know when I was at work, and I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but when I worked for a company, turning up at 9 a.m. and being at my desk and all of these sorts of things, that didn't motivate me at all. Having to be there just because, rather than, I was top salesperson in the UK at one point for a really big recruitment company. I had to work from 8 in the morning till 6 p.m. every day, but I only ever really worked probably 4 or 5 hours a day. I never really worked all that time, but I still had to be in the office just because. And that was really unmotivating for me, because actually if I could hit my targets in half the time of other people, why did I need to be in the office? Didn't make any sense to me. Now I know, actually, because if I'd have worked all of that time, I'd have probably done even better. But I was working for somebody else, and so I wasn't really driven at that point. So I think, how do I motivate myself? One is trying to create a bit of a routine, but also doing different things each day. So I get really bored really easily. So I do different things all the time, but also just making sure that I'm doing things I feel proud of and excited by. Yes, you'll have days where you can't be excited because you're doing admin, or you're doing the stuff that's hard, or the stuff that really pushes you outside your comfort zone and you're just terrified. But when you've done it, it feels great and you feel proud of yourself, and so that then motivates me further. So that's, I think, probably the key thing for motivation for me in my business is making sure that I feel that I'm making the right choices and doing things for others that are good rather than bad. So what else have we got in here? One of the other things I put here is, again, it's motivation, is the difference between need and must. Now, I'm really guilty of this when I think about the gym. So I'm going to use that as an example, because I do want to go to the gym and I do want to be more healthy. I do want to be more fitness. But quite often when you hear me say it, I'll say I need, or rather than I must. Now, when you say need, it's quite a pressuring word. It's quite a lot of pressure. Like, you need to do that, or you should do that. But should by whose standards? Yeah, if actually it's not by your own standards, you're never going to be engaged enough in that goal to get up and do it. It's about your language pattern that you tell yourself, the inner story, the bullshit story that you tell yourself. That's what I call it. It's not about need. It's not about should. Actually, I want to go to the gym, or I want to make those 10 sales calls. I want to do that because I'll get a result from that. That might be a great result. It might be a rubbish result. Who knows? But I want to do it because I want to see a different result than what I'm getting right now. The second you start to talk about in your inner narrative about you wanting to do something rather than needing or should, you'll find actually you'll become more naturally engaged with what you're doing. And it's the same with your clients, it's the same with your customers, it's the same with your service levels. When you're doing it because you want to, it's the same with managing your staff. You know, if they're doing it because they want to work hard, they want to be involved in that project, they want to get going, the results they'll see are different just from that, just switching language. Now, in business, I'm great at talking like that. In business, I'm great at doing that. In my fitness world, I just don't, for some reason. I always say need, I always say should, and it's because I'm not quite engaged with it yet. I need to figure out how to do that properly, but I want to do it. So that's another way, is to just really approach things in a slightly different way in your inner narrative, is to approach things and say, you know, I actually want to do this, and I'm motivated to do it because it's something I want to do, not I need or should. And if it's something you need or should be doing, then maybe think about if it's the right thing to be doing. Maybe there's a different way or a different part of it where you can say, do you know what, actually I want to do this, and it can get you the same result. It just means you'll be more emotionally engaged in whatever the goal is that you're trying to achieve. What else have we got on here? I was asked about what I've struggled with in 2017. Now, 2017 was actually quite a hard year for me. I don't put a lot of my personal shit online. I use Facebook purely for business. But there was a lot of things that happened in 2017 in my personal life that were quite difficult. My nan passed away at the beginning of the year, and a few other bits and pieces that I found quite taxing on me. And I think in terms of struggle, one of the things I struggled with in 2017 was finding time for me. I've been, and I am always, really so focused on business, actually it can consume me a little bit. And something I think I learned definitely by the end of the year is that I was just a bit frazzled with it all, because I didn't really take the time out for me. And by time for me, I mean things like, you know, actually finding time to just lay in the bath a little bit longer, or you know, go for a walk the dog, sit and read a book, spend time with my friends, you know, go and visit the friends that live I've got friends from university that live in Manchester and Birmingham and places like that I'd love to go and spend time with, but I didn't see any of them last year. And that's, you know, that's not really the life I'm trying to build. You know, I've started my own business because I wanted freedom, I wanted time, I wanted space to be able to make the choices and spend time doing what I want to do. And last year, by the end of last year, I realised that actually last year I'd not created a job, because I definitely didn't create a job. I definitely had the freedom to choose how I spend my time. And, you know, if I want to lay in bed till 10 in the morning because I'm tired, then I can do that. Or if I want to work till midnight because I'm excited in the middle of something, then I can do that as well. But I think probably the things I struggled with last year is I took on a little bit too much all at the same time. And that was quite difficult, actually. It was, I had to learn. The things I struggled with last year were saying no. I think it's probably the best way to explain what I struggled with in 2017 is actually having the confidence and the courage in myself to say, actually, no, I can't help you with that, or no, I can't deliver that, or no, I can't do this project, or no, I can't, no, I can't. I think because I'm quite a new, like I said right at the beginning of this video, I'm quite a new business person in the grand scheme of things. I'm still learning every day, and learning how to say no, which by the end of the year actually I'd nailed. I'd really started to get to a point where I was able to say no to things. But middle of the year, kind of July to maybe like June to September time, I just had too much. It was all just a bit too much for me. So learning to say no and actually having the courage and the confidence to bring that into the business was something I really did struggle with in 2017. You know, I could be cheesy and say, you know, I struggled with having so much work on that because there was so much positive stuff going on. That's not the truth. I just didn't say no enough. And I have forgot a little bit. I think I went a little bit west in terms of focusing on the things that were really what I wanted to focus on, instead of focusing on the things that were for other people that weren't necessarily serving me in the right way. by the end of the year had learned to do that, and this year definitely will be saying no to things that don't serve me in equal measures to the people that I'm helping. It is important for me to help other people, because one of my values, when you sit and do your values and your visions for you and your businesses, it's something that came out when I did mine, is that actually, yeah, it is important to me to serve other people. But being able to serve myself in equal measure was something I'd forgotten about last year. And I don't know if any of you can relate to that at all. I can see a couple of you guys on here that I know are really busy guys. Kasim, Sean, Luke, hi, Jerome as well. Hello. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but when you take on too much, actually, you don't do anything very well. You do lots of different things poorly rather than doing a few things excellently. And I think that's something that I struggled with last year, if I'm being very, very honest. Other things I think I struggled with last year were not getting distracted. So because I have an enthusiasm to learn, because I spend a lot of time learning and developing, and you know, I do things quite quickly, I pick things up quite quickly. Something else I think I struggled with is making sure that I don't go too far too quickly and try and run before I can walk. Yes, we've built a really fantastic rent-to-rent business. You know, it's turning over, it's making great profits, which is amazing. The sourcing business is great. We're moving into more developments this year. We've got 2 offers we're literally waiting to close out this week, I'm hoping. My target for 2018 is to build 10 houses, whether that's 10 individuals or whether it's 2 sites of 5 or whatever it ends up being. I'd like to create 10 homes by the end of the year, which for someone who's never even built a wall, it's going to be a hard slog. I don't think I'm going to do the physical building. Pretty sure I'm not going to do the physical building. I'd like to maybe lay a brick, but be involved in a team that develop 10 homes is my goal for 2018. So not getting distracted by lots of other things throughout 2017 was something I really did struggle with. So 2018, I've got a much more defined path, a much more defined goal, and I'm very, very excited about it. So I don't know if any of you can relate to that either, but right, I wanted to just do basically a half-hour video this morning, which I have now done, 32 minutes, and off the back of this, if there's anything that I've talked about that's been of interest to you, or you want to learn more about how rent-to-rent works, or you know, what Justin and I have done and how we've built our business over the last 2 years, and what the figures have looked like, what the houses look like. We've got lots of photos and things like that. We're actually doing an online session on the 4th, which is in, the link is in the comments box. I'd love to see you guys online, and we can talk a little bit more about how it all works and what we do, and you know, the difference that it could make for you in 2018. You know, my life's completely different now thanks to rent-to-rent. So the session is specifically about rent-to-rent, how it works, what it is, how the numbers work, where to find the deals, how to negotiate, how to build the relationships with companies, how to build the relationships with agents, how to build your marketing list, all these different things. So the link's in the comments box. Hope to see you online. Have an amazing first day back if you're back today. If you're not and you're having another day off, then enjoy your lay-in. I will speak to you guys loads more and more Facebook Lives over the coming months and the next 12 months. I'm really excited for 2018 for me. I'm really excited to be able to help you guys and serve you all and help you to build your businesses as well in the same way as you helped me build mine. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.